Good morning, everyone. Boker Tov. This week's Torah portion, the very first Jew, Abraham, receives the very first commandment, which is the mitzvah of circumcision. And until today, every Jewish boy is circumcised just like Abraham did. And the question is, when a baby's born, you marvel at the extraordinary miracle of the birth and the creation of this beautiful child with all their limbs and organs and blood vessels and 10 fingers and 10 toes. But yet one little thing is not complete, and that's the circumcision. And God says on the 8th day you should circumcise your child. And the question is, if God made this perfect child, why couldn't God just finish the job and the baby could be born circumcised? And the rabbis explain, the chinuch explains, that this is the whole message of circumcision. That God leaves something for us to do, to be a partner with Him in the creation of this baby, to bring this child to completion and to perfection. And the message is that this is the message and the journey of every human being's life on earth. That God says there's more to be done. I gave you life. I created you with all of your magnificence, with all of your potential, with all of your inner greatness. But now you have to develop yourself, and you have to bring yourself to completion, to fulfillment, and you must carry on the work that I began, not only within yourself, but within the world around you. And by doing that, we become partners with God in creation. And why did God do that? You know, one of the most popular toys, if not the most popular toy, is Legos. I don't think there's a home in America or maybe even in the world that doesn't have a Lego set. As a matter of fact, it's the only toy that there are theme parks named after this one singular toy. Here in Florida, our kids love to go to Legoland. What is it about Legos? Why is it a $10 billion business? Why is it that every second 7 sets of Lego are sold? And next month in December, every second there are 28 sets of Lego sets sold during the holiday season. Why does this toy stand head and shoulders above all other toys? And the answer is that everyone always thought a toy that a kid's going to play with has to already be built and assembled. Why would I buy a toy that I have to make and build by myself? But Legos, when it was developed and created in the 1930s, almost 100 years ago, proved that as much as a child enjoys playing with a toy, they get more joy and more satisfaction and more pleasure when they built the toy themselves. When they could look at that toy and say, I created this toy. That's the deepest satisfaction in life. And this is not a message about toys or children. The same thing is true with adults. The Talmud says that when you get something without effort, it's like bread of shame. But when you invest your time and energy in creating something, then the pleasure you get from it is so much deeper and so much greater. And therefore God says, I can do everything for you, but I left work for you to do. Because when you work on yourself, you develop yourself, you will get so much more joy and satisfaction. Today is the last day of the race, the election in America. Tomorrow is voting day. When you think about the way democracy is created, the way it's built, it's that the people get to choose. The people get to build their country, their leadership, choose their direction. So we are invested in the destiny and the future of our nation. And that's why voting is a great honor, a great privilege. And we have to have skin in the game. And by going to the voting booth and casting our vote, we are part of the process of making our country the type of nation that will be a shining light on the hill, that will be a light for humanity, because we helped guide and direct it. And you may say, what difference does my one singular vote make? And I'm reminded of the story of this father and son walking along the beach. And there was a tide that was bringing up starfish all along the banks of the shore as the water was receding back. And there were thousands of starfish lined across the beach that were dying without water. And the father was bending down and picking up one fish at a time, starfish, and throwing it back into the ocean. And the little boy turned to his father and said, "Dad, there are thousands of starfish along the water that are dying. What difference does it make if you just throw one fish back into the ocean?" And the father bends down again, picks up another starfish, and as he throws it back into the ocean, he says, "To that fish, it made all the difference in the world." We may not be able to change the whole world, but we can do our part, like the mitzvah of circumcision teaches us, to make the world a little bit better and a little bit more perfect, a little bit more developed, and that will bring us the greatest joy.